I never really saw anybody in media that was like, oh, like being a chef is something to be proud of. Being a chef is something that you can actually succeed in, and be great, be great, be great.
Hey guys, welcome back to 1,000 Days. We are here with episode 11, here with Chef GQ and Pat, and myself, Nicole. And we're talking today about pivoting, what that looks like, of how you should decide and when you should decide to pivot, and some pivoting strategies that you should look into. Chef, you wanted to talk about this because for us, we are at that point.
Mhm.
And I don't want to be general. I want to be specific to Red Indigo. Where is Red Indigo today in the juncture of pivoting?
Yeah. So to kind of lay the foreground here, this is going to be a constant topic that we talk about in a lot of episodes. So I feel like, people are going to be like, oh, well, they're talking about pivoting again, or pivot this, or pivot that. And it may seem redundant, but pivoting is redundant in a way in business because you always have to pivot on a dime of what's happening in this season, what's happening next season, what's happening today, tomorrow, XYZ, how much money we have in the bank today versus how much money we may have in 5 years or 2 years. It's a lot of things that makes you pivot. But today, we have come to the conclusion of, we're done being in the planning phase. We're done being in the let's build phase. Now it's kind of time to show out. And we're not very showy people. None of us really are. We don't post a lot on Instagram. We don't have a lot of followers. We don't even tell a lot of people a lot of things that we do. We have, I feel like, mastered the art of movement in silence. And it's not even like a thing that we do to kind of like, do it, say that so we can feel like we're doing something, but we just be so busy working and actually doing the thing, we forget to be like, hey guys, we have this new thing over here. So right now, what we're
And I
planning,
think some things just don't need to be spoken out until it's kind of delved out. Like it's kind of carved out, it's kind of worked out.
yeah,
And so that if any chaos or any cancellations or any further changes are done,
hmm,
people are not like, because they're already confused by our concept.
yeah. I mean, and that's fine. And I'm, actually, it's funny because I used to feel a little bit bad about that, about people being confused about what we are called, what we are. We have so many different names, we have so many different this and that. But I think, funny enough, that was the foundation for us to really get to here, because that's the foundation that a lot of these bigger companies use, right? They have a big corporation, then they have LLCs under that corporation, and then they have different DBAs. You wouldn't know Taco Bell, Pizza Hut is the same company.
Right.
You wouldn't know, uh, you know, um, Fridays and Olive Garden is the same people, but you go and be like, I don't like Olive Garden, but I like Fridays. Well, you paying the same people. It don't matter. They good with you paying the same people, but it's a different name. So I think, on a lower scale, you want people to know exactly who you are, exactly what you're doing, and things like that. Where we have built our different brands and our different names so much so that it stands on its own. We don't need our friends, our family to say, oh, we're going here because of you. It's no, we can open up RVA Cafe and it stand on its own anywhere. We can put Absurd Bird anywhere and it stands on its own anywhere. We can do, and then we say Red Indigo. Red Indigo does a lot of different things. Does delivery, does restaurant, does consulting, does all these different things. So I like how we've done that. But specifically for us, now that it's time to pivot, we're already set up for that, right? So now we're going to go into, we built our kind of virtual food hall here downtown at Branch and Vine. But now, what we want to do is we want to open up another space over in Chef Suite. And Chef Suite is a shared kitchen facility that is specifically for the type of things that we do, virtual food brands, right? So at first it was like, okay, well, it's a little bit redundant. It's in the same city. It's not that far away, X, Y, Z. But we realized, well, we're here at this location, and this location, it's a good real estate for people to come in. It's a good space for people to say, oh, let's just walk in randomly, or oh, let's have reservations, or Sunday morning brunch, blah 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 blah. It's a different demographic than what we look for. So I feel like we have to kind of reimagine ourselves in the thing of, all right, we're just delivery, we're just to go, we're just pickup, but we have this space that promotes people coming in, and so it's kind of a letdown when people come in here and they're like, well, where's the service?
Where's the people?
Where's the people? Where's all of this? And we're just like, the people is at home at their house eating the food that they got here.
We get people summertime like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Your dining room is empty. We're like,
nah,
no,
we
we're
good
okay.
actually. You
Why
know,
y'all not open?
Oh, I thought you were open. We are.
we open. We definitely open. You just don't see the people. Our people's invisible. But I mean, it's cool because now what we can do is we're at the point where we can kind of focus on the very specific things that we do and now build something that promotes and is specifically for that. So now we're going to go into Chef Suite. We're going to essentially say, okay, hey, we're going to be a part of this food community, this virtual food hall community, and then we're going to also have something down here where it's like we can now rebuild this. We can now use the monies or that we're getting from there, the financial gains that we get from there to say, let's make this into something more easy on the eyes, real, because it's a pretty old building, so it needs some renovations, it needs some stuff like that. So whereas we thought this was our end all be all, we're downtown, right in the middle, next to VCU, it can't get no better than this. We're like, now we're here for a couple months, and we're starting to see there are some holes actually. There's some actual things that we can't do. We can't, we can't fry as much. We can't broil as much. We can't just create as much things as quickly as we would want them. So even if we were busy in here every day all the time, we're gonna piss people off because we can't get food out as quickly as we want to. So now we have to figure out, okay, well, where can we invest to get this thing to where we want it the quickest? And at first we're like, well, it wouldn't ever make sense for us to open up a second space, but it kind of does, because if you just put money into this space that can already be fleshed out for you, and that can quadruple or triple your revenue almost overnight, well, then you take some of that revenue and then put it back into this, and now this can be something that you can come to and people can come to, you can feel good about. So, I mean, that's what we're pivoting right now. And then, that's short term. Long term is, we already have gone, not to be too down home, but we've already gone worldwide. We've already been invited to other countries to look at people's businesses, to manage people's restaurants, and to do things like that. So it's nothing for us to say, oh, you're building one in Atlanta? Oh, okay, we'll be down there. Oh, you're building one in Chicago? Oh, we'll be over there too.
LA.
We'll build one in LA? Oh, we'll be over there too. It's not something that we're even afraid of. We're like, oh, how are we going to do this? It's like, no, we've already been exposed to that. So we know that we can pivot that way. And because we can build this business exactly how we want to build it, we have that freedom and that liberty to just say, all right, well,
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think the exciting thing is I'm a traveler. Since I was 19, I've lived many places. I've traveled many countries, and what's exciting for me is that my level of success is being somewhere else outside of where I'm living, because I like the opportunity to travel, to go there, set it up, come back, and be where we need to be to still stay successful, right? Make a plan as a team that we're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is a plan for this week. Everybody understands their marching orders. Yep. And we head to it and seeing that flourish. So it's kind of exciting to me because we stepped into this world of going into, what would we call that space? I mean, I'm not sure if we're using names. I mean, I know I'm making it weird, but I don't know if we're using the actual name. No, where we're going into.
Chef Suite?
Oh, Chef Suite. Okay, so
I said it multiple times.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't know. But just knowing like, okay, look, we're attaching and we're partnering with Chef Suite, and then we're partnering with Chef Suite down in Atlanta, and then we're partnering with Chef Suite down in LA. And it's like you really don't have to really spend all that time looking for real estate because it's already found it for you.
Yeah.
And the exciting part is when people really want to work with you. I pray that this union really forges a really strong bond because it's amazing to see the eagerness in them to say, "Hey, we want you to be a part of this space,"
Yeah.
you know, and not for any gain. You know,
Yeah.
we just signed contracts this week, and you know, it just kind of feels great that somebody wants to be a part outside of a customer who wants your product. You know, so
I think one of my big words for recently has been authenticity, and I think it's important to stay aware of when you're being authentic. So, say for example, a lot of times we make plans at one point in time, and we kind of move forward based on those plans. Um, and I think as things change, the original plan kind of doesn't, And what I'm getting at with that is just like pivoting comes into play when you kind of make an initial plan, you kind of start an initial goal, and as you kind of grow and succeed at said goal, you kind of get to a point where it's like, I actually do know way more than when I started, when I made this plan.
Yeah.
It's actually smart for me to abandon the first plan that got me here in the first place to start a new one based on what I have right now today.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably one of the most important things, just kind of always reevaluating what you're doing and always just staying aware of just like, when I started, I was here and I knew this much. That brought me here, but now I'm at this point and I know this much. So now that left turn isn't a deviation or a distraction like it would have been, back, when I started.
Yeah.
Now it's just the next right course of action based on the information that I have available to me.
what's your thoughts? I know we haven't discussed it with you. Kind of took the kite off, just kind of sailed up and soared in the sky. But what's your thoughts about building relationships and moving to other states?
Um, Again, I feel like it's really about authenticity. I'm not one to necessarily stretch for the sake of stretching. Everything just has to make sense. And I feel like when you feel resistance, that's an indicator. You know what I'm saying? More so of just like, if we're able to do it and it doesn't take away from anything, then possibly it's the right way. But I feel like more so again it's that indicator. Just like if you're trying to do that, trying to expand before you're ready to grow, most of the time you'll feel that. You just have to pay attention to that. Some people will just push through like, no, I want to grow no matter what, and it's still possible. But I feel like that just kind of brings up those unforeseens you were talking about. Where you just kind of have to, I don't know, just be more involved or be more malleable as opposed to just, all right, I finally, like a plant, I finally outgrown this pot that I've made. I need a bigger pot, and it's just that's just what it is. Versus I haven't outgrown this thing yet, but I just want one. You know, so I don't know. I feel like it's just about again just that authenticity. Like things make sense exactly when they do. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think we gave this space here a chance. But there's this growing feeling, like a baby ready to be born into
Well,
the world.
and look, to your point, and I said this to Daquan, I think earlier last week, I feel like, I don't think it's that we didn't give it a chance. I feel like we outgrew it faster than we thought we would.
Yeah.
Even at one point, when we first got in here, judging off of the last space we were in the West, that kitchen has way more space. And that was one of my big things. It was like, man, we have so much space here. We can do this, we can do that, and all these brands will be fine. Now, we're already to a point, a few months in, of squeezing past each other and doing this and this and that. And it's like, man,
Yeah.
we're already at that point. We're like, we could be going faster if this was this. And I feel like same thing I said to you is just that's a more so a testament to us, where it would have taken us back then, 2 years to grow to this point. Now it's only taking us 4 or 5 months. So I think that says a lot to really where we are as far as our growth. You know, our growth is exponential. It's compounding. You know, and I think that's important to note. And just like as you're moving forward, and to your point as well, like because our growth is exponential and compounding, we don't need another building. We need another state, you know, to accommodate that.
Yeah, yeah. I think we need to get our name out in the world, and I think Red Indigo has um, a lot that we have to offer. Um, I believe this next step in building relationships. One thing we have not really done well with, and intentionally, not because we think we're better or anything, but we just have been so fearful of investors and people just putting their money in, thinking that their money incorporates their thoughts, and because we're not exploding in thousands with thousands in our bank account, but we definitely, from moment to moment, are able to run our business. Um, but we get to the point of we need or should be doing this, but we've got to fund it from the work that we put in, and that becomes hard because there's but so much work that you can truly put in to make that much money, to turn that much money. So I think Red Indigo, the vision. I remember the friend that we went to visit last week um, at the beach. She was a part of the naming process and the concept. And Daquan at the time, he wanted to be a fine dining chef. So he thought that it would be white tablecloth, very authentic and very specific cuisine, and it was going to be fancy. And very quickly did he come upon with kind of just like going with the flow when we acquired RVA Cafe, because they weren't fine dining in any by any stretch. And so Red Indigo doesn't have a meaning per se, but it's a compilation of ideas. It's a compilation of unreals. It doesn't mean anything, right? It means that we can encompass anything we want behind that title. I mean, I was the creator of the name. Thank you, thank you. But no, all jokes aside, like it wasn't meant to have a thing. It was a concept, and Red Indigo today is a concept. A concept that we don't know if we're doing this right. We don't know if this is going to be a $3 million, $5 million project. We hope it to be, but the fact that we're not afraid to go out there and get our names in spaces where we're putting our name in spaces where people are like, yes, we want you in those spaces. I think it's exciting. Yeah. And not because the usual where everybody's like, oh my God, we have this. But it's the work that we put in. Because none of this is going to be less than any work that we've already done.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just excited to really kind of get Red Indigo. And I think here in Richmond, we appreciate all the love, all the support that we get, all the plugs that people put us into. But I don't think that they really understand what we've built, what we've taken the last 2-3 years to build, to bring the concept to Richmond, which is a fabulous concept. I do. I mean, I'm not just tooting my horn because it's my brand. I'm saying it's a fabulous concept to have 6 different brands under one roof, and you're not battling 6 different owners. I mean, the fact that we can even put out that amount is just, you guys are just phenomenal with it, and we can stay on top of it. But for the most part, without snafus, But we do a great job in getting the concept out, But will it be better received somewhere else?
Yeah. I don't even think it's necessarily per area. I feel like just in general, since the concept it's still new, it's still cutting edge. Saying it's still something that is developing day by day, and we're seeing it, and you know, developing ourselves towards what the market is actually doing. You know, so I feel like, like I said, to your point, it's less specifically about the area. Nobody knows what this is, really about to do. Even the people that's in it don't know what this is about to do.
Yeah.
So, through no fault of anyone else's, I feel like it's just, I said, more so just being grateful to be in the space, so to be able to see something. Most people don't see these things until you're already a decade and some change in. And then you're like, oh, this brand new thing is so great. It's like, yeah, it took 10 years to build just to show it to you. You
Right.
know?
Right.
But to kind of be in a space where, like I said, the landscape of food prep and delivery and what it means to even operate within a restaurant has been changing almost every 6 months for the last 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I'm just grateful to be one of the ones that's kind of a part of that. I love being able to feel like my eyes are open to what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Of
Yeah.
seeing how the world is changing, because the world is pivoting itself.
Yeah.
Whether you want to be a part of it or not, it is what it is on the consumer side as well. So, it's pretty cool to kind of really, really see exactly what's happening and for us to kind of move with times and stuff like that. So, I'm very excited to see what the future really holds for us in that regard of that we're so much on the top of what we do. Um, we know what to do in delivery space. Like, nobody probably knows. I mean, some people may, but there's not going to be a lot of people in the entire world that
They
know.
understand, but they don't execute it.
Yeah, they don't know how to execute it. They don't know how to do exactly what we do, how we do it, when we do it.
Yeah, it's a small
all of
class
that.
for sure.
Yeah, it's a very, very small subsect of people that really can, fill these shoes. I mean, hence why we hire really slow, because it's like you got to understand what this is, and we don't put out any kind of food. We don't pack it any kind of way. We don't just send out whatever. We don't just miss stuff because we're on our phone or we forgot. Like, all that's very, very important with people, because it's a different mindset. It's a very different mindset when you're serving people inside and, oh man, I forgot to give them water. You just go and get the water and bring it back, and it may or may not affect that customer as much as, well, now they've gotten it all the way delivered to their house and they don't have to drink. Well, there's nothing you can do about that. It's over. It's done.
But they did not forget. Trust and
So,
believe.
And look, and to your point, like, just even delving more into that, like you said, it's very different when, or the relationship between you and the customer, or just how you run your business when you're, kind of strictly serving inside. It's very different when you're serving inside and delivery. It's very different when you're only doing delivery. You know what I'm saying? It's like really having to understand those kind of nuances and those differences, and like I said, being able to pivot this same environment within whatever you're doing at the time. I love, just to your point of just like, the world is pivoting whether you want it to or not. And just seeing in the grander scheme, it's not just about business alone.
yeah.
Where it's like, things are always changing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You're always, this mindset will help you in every facet and area of your life. So just kind of being open and aware to know that I will have to pivot. You know what I'm saying?
Is
How
that
do I
the
handle it?
elasticity?
No, it's compliance to the world
Yeah.
around you.
Ah.
And if you want to watch the previous podcast to understand where I'm getting at with that, that's what it's about. The world isn't changing, or the world changes
I hate
whether
it
you
here.
want it to or not.
Yeah, you hate it.
Stop playing with me.
Yeah.
The world changes whether you want it to or not. You know what I'm saying? You can get with it or you cannot. But these the laws. You know what I'm saying?
These
You have
the
to abide by
laws.
them.
These the laws.
To be continued.
In every
Well,
episode.
we're getting ready to close out this episode here, episode 11. Kind of touching base on some pivoting that Red Indigo is actually coming across and really working on. But of course, take from what we just kind of put out there what you can for yourself and plug it into your world and your mantra and your team, because it all looks different for everyone. But thank you guys for joining us. 1,000 days,
1,000,
episode 11.
Man.
We'll see you guys
Never really
soon.
saw
We out.
anybody in media that was like, oh, like being a chef is something to be proud of. Being a chef is something that you can actually succeed in, and